will be a little up, but not much at all. Okay, so you're going to have to probably have to tighten down unless we're going to spend down cash balances. We're going to have to keep a pretty tight 26 budget.
Okay.
What's going to happen in 27? Probably the growth quotient is going to go down to 2%. They're putting the hammer on everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I don't want to hear any of you guys ask for
yay, rah. So, and we'll get it next year. We start it next year, don't
Right.
we? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so page 1 is where the county sits. Page 2 just shows you the county always wanted to know, where they were with all the other 92 counties. Now, here's where this gets a little bit more sticky. Okay, now you all know you got how much in population, Jenny?
And
Under 1,000, 970.
973.
Yeah.
was
Okay,
last
it's
audit.
too bad that overnight you couldn't go get about 2,500 other people and get to the 3,500 level. Because if you're above, Pittsburgh makes it by 300 people.
Oh my.
And yeah, I know that because I'm helping them. and so they get to have their own text. Now, what will happen, and I'm on page 3 now, is that the county is collecting about 46 million in total, their share of lit. If you look to the far right, they have a rate, I backed into a rate of 0.85. If you look in the middle column, right now they have a maximum of 1.2 that they can raise the lit rate. What this told the county is they're comfortable. Okay, they're pretty comfortable. It's going to work for them at their 1.2 level. Now let's turn the page and let's go to the new estimate, or the estimate we put together for Clayton. So Clayton, you get about, according to our analysis, Jenny, you're going to get about 147,000 in total income taxes. Cadgett, PSC Lit, and Edit. Okay? If we take that and we subtract, see the assumed deduction, and see county income minus Avon, Brownsburg, Danville, Plainfield, and Pittsburgh, why did I do that? Okay? I'm sure you've heard that small towns get up to a 1.2% tax rate, right? People under 3,500. Right? Well, you don't approve that. The county council approves that. And it would be up to 1.2, and the county can keep 75% of it.
Of the 1.2?
What?
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah.
I'm not a light bulb. Isn't that the old joke?
Yeah. It is
So-
an old joke.
Very old.
Exactly.
So, yes, so look down there at 2C in the future. And this is what I told the county council right here on the cover page. 2C, okay, not the bottom here, is small towns under, we're missing an ER, but under 3,500, sorry. Max rate 1.2, county may keep 75% enacted by the county, not enacted by you all. Okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to tax the people way up in the northern part of Hendricks County, the way in the southern part, east part, west part, if there is anything left on the east. And they're going to charge them for Clayton, Indiana. Okay, guess what didn't go over yesterday very well at the Hendricks
What
County.
you just said.
Good. Dave, I'm trying to lead the witness, so yeah, stay with me here. Stay with me. Okay, so they said, why in the hell would we, I think that was actually the quote marks, would we increase the tax rate on everybody to fund AMO or Clayton. They weren't really,
Yeah,
your name didn't come up, thank gosh, but
was in front of
AMO. And the answer is, okay, if we don't, and here's the answer here, you would lose $147,000, and you might as well fold your pup tent and go home. Okay? So in order to keep you alive, the county, you're looking, go ahead.
I mean, they're already collecting millions in income tax. So
46
why
million
aren't
for
they
their
just
side.
willing to share more of that with towns like us that are getting killed by this Senate Bill 1?
Well, and see, that's what I think is people going to have to understand that, you know, you were taxing the entire county for Clayton's 147 anyways. Okay?
They were,
Yeah.
correct.
So we got to do it as a trade-off. It just fits in a different peg.
Right.
Okay? The
The other thing-
small town peg.
That they ought to make sure and consider, Clayton has a median household income of $86,000. So
Oh,
we're
good.
not-
Good.
We're not contributing to this amount.
Where'd you
We
get
are
that
contributing-
from the survey, the special survey?
That was just a Google search of.
Oh,
I think
really?
the US
Yeah.
Census-
Oh, okay.
And so
What was it, Doug? I want to write it down.
$86,000 was what
Okay.
Google said our median household income is.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we are contributing a significant amount to that county lit that they're already,
Well,
showing that they are bringing in.
well then,
These millions of dollars.
right. And look at my
46
calculation on page 4, Doug.
Yeah,
You're
they're-
minuscule.
They're bringing in $46 million in income tax. We're contributing to that. So why don't we get back a
Well,
fair
that's
share?
even just their share. There's more income taxes going to that's just their share.
Right.
Yeah.
We
So-
have, we
so-
have a bunch of residents here who are working hard and earning money and paying into that fund. And so for them to just be like, well, why should we give money to Clayton? Clayton's giving money to you.
Yeah.
So we just want some of that back.
And that's what everybody's got to understand, and they've got to, because then the question comes up to Jeff, why can't we do a tax rate specifically for everyone under 3,500? That's incorporated, and there's no way. There's no way to geofence, nor would you probably want to geofence.
Well, I mean,
Clayton.
there is a way to do it. It's just
Geo-
who would want to go through the.
Right. Or Department of Revenue couldn't do it yet.
Well, I mean, it would take about 4,000 people to,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Okay.
it's improbable, not impossible.
So the good news is on page 4, when I go through that, okay, you guys are a very, very small percent. So the answer is what the heck's the problem? It needs to be, and keep in mind, it will be enacted in 27 for 28. Okay? So there's a little glide path, okay? But in a lot of places in the law, it says if the town asks for it, here's what I'm going to tell you to do right now. In your next meeting or two, I think at some point in time, if you can get a resolution, the town council passes a resolution and says, we are requesting that the Hendricks County Council, when this comes in 2027, to enact a rate so that we can fund our budgets. Okay? And every year thereafter. You with me? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is you're going to put them on notice at ASAP and probably even send that resolution each year, and so that you have a track record of you've been asking for it, right? Because the theory is if someone it would glitch and they wouldn't get anybody asking for it, then the county gets to keep it.
And we are gonna ask for the 1.2%.
You're gonna ask, well, I'm gonna say you should ask for a rate which, yeah, I don't think I would do that like that. I think you're gonna ask a rate to fund your budget, in income taxes now and in the future, is how I think I would put it. I want you to think about this, but I'm thinking, get on the record, as soon as you can. If you say the 1.2, everybody's they're going to say, okay, now wait a minute, that they don't understand what's going on here. So the total rate may have to be 0.20 to divide. Remember, what they're going to do is take, at this point in time, they're going to come up with a rate of the 1.2. Let's say it's 50 basis points. And they're going to distribute that to the small towns. Okay? So what I was saying is the rate should capture at least enough to fund your lit now and in the future. Okay? Putting it on the record. Concerned,
And do
Doug?
that- And do that every year, or just one time?
I think, well, let's put it this way. When I come back next year, we'll talk about it. Okay?
Well,
But
with
you wanna pass a resolution every year that says this, not just this one resolution.
Why not? It's
I
a
mean-
resolution, right? It's
Okay.
easy.
Yeah, I
But
just,
you pass it once, but you send it to them every year.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Oh, pass it once and send it.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
yeah. And if they need a renewal, we'll pass it again. One of those. I just want to I want to put everybody on notice that, and we would send it to the county auditor. But I'm just saying, then you've already put them on notice. That's where you want them to go. This will come up in January of 2027, hopefully not any sooner, and we'll be going from there. Yeah.
but you're not suggesting that we find a number to put in that resolution.
I don't think I would do that.
So we're gonna just leave it open to their kindness of, they're gonna give us whatever money they think is appropriate.
No, that's when I said, when I said enough to replace our current lits
Okay,
and growth in the future. Because here's the other problem. They got to go back and renew the rates for lit each and every year. Okay, that's going to get real fun, right? Because there's going to be arguments each year. Okay, so right now, that 147, you've got 192 in property taxes. So that's basically your revenue. So what I'm saying is that's so valuable to me. I'm going to say, hey, we're putting you on notice.
sure.
You know,
My theory in this part when I'm researching some of this is that if our residents, people who live here are contributing more than the average, town in, middle or western Hendricks County, why are we limiting ourselves to such a small number and not, to me, I think the benefit should be equal to what our residents are contributing. Because that's their hard-earned money, and then it's going to the
Right.
county or Plainfield, Avon, Brownsburg, instead of coming back to work for them here in this community.
so I understand that. I think the formula, I need to look, but I think the formula is already written for you on how it's going to be divided.
Gotcha.
And so it's a matter of coming up with the proper 50 basis points to fund all of you, not to individually fund all of you. Okay? So what I'm saying is they got to take that pie then and to split it up according to state law. And I think it's, I'm going to have to look, I think it's population or something. But
No,
And-
because when we were working on the fire territory stuff, you guys shared with me that it's our tax rate. If our property tax rate is low, this number is low. If our property tax is high, then this number's high.
well, that's how it works that way, but I don't think it's going to work that way on this one.
Right, I
On
just
two
know
A,
that
yes.
in the
It's
past,
levy. It's
that's
levy.
what's been
Yes.
their determination. They
Yeah.
look at us as a, a small pond
The
needing
192,
small fish.
yeah.
And instead of, so we're getting,
Okay, now, here's what we need to worry about next, okay? Page 5. Okay. Just when you believe your house is worth 250,000, so that's the top line. What's going to happen over 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 is the net assessed valuation of your home is going to go down between 4 to 7% each and every year. So your $250,000 home that was based upon net assessed value of 126 now will start going all the way down to 83,000 in 2031. Now, if the town loses AV, David, I'm sure you've got the answer. What happens to the tax rate?
It goes up.
Goes up.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. So it'll go up roughly. So if you went back and said, town raises 41 pennies. Oh, when we build our budget for 26 and 27, we got to see it at 41 pennies. Wrong. That'd be the worst thing you ever did, right? Because you wouldn't have enough money. Okay. So we're gonna put in the 4% growth quotient. We're gonna put in an extra 2% just for your good looks, Jenny. And so, we're going to cover it all. We're going to cover it all. So, because AV, when we get it to match up with the 26 budget, it's going to be discounted by about 4 or 5%. Now, what else is going to happen? Well, go to page 6.
I'm afraid
You're just Mr. Sunshine.
I'm thinking if we're gonna sell our house, we should do
Well,
it now.
notice I have 2 spots on my head. That's what happens when you talk about Senate Bill 1 to people. You get beat
well,
up.
I mean, to clarify, the value of your house isn't gonna change. How much the property taxes
How
can
much
be.
the assessed
Right, you
value
get
is
to
gonna change.
have a bigger deduction
Yeah.
off of your tax
So
bill.
why?
Right.
So
And
why?
hopefully, maybe this will go up a little bit.
So
So,
with this
Good.
impacting the assessed values,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't we ask for a little bit more each year when we ask the county?
well, remember, that's what I said, to fund our current LIT and our additional
But
growth.
how could we ask for enough to compensate for these drops? I mean, I don't even think that's.
Well, remember, this will drop, tax rate will go up, you'll still get the same money until,
Yeah.
okay?
So the
our-
DLGF is getting rid of the maximum levy in light of this? Because I thought they were keeping the maximum levy.
They are.
In the 4% range.
Well, maximum levy, remember, that's what I just told you. Maximum levy was granted for 2026 to go up 4%.
Right.
You're gonna get 1% of that, if you're lucky. Because you
Next
gotta
year.
fund the replacement of the $300.
Right.
Okay.
So, maximum levy will go up 4%, okay? You won't get true income into the town of 4%.
Right.
You're gonna get less than that. So, levy goes up, AV goes down, tax rate goes up. Next year, AV goes down, levy, maybe they're talking about 2% in 27. Levy goes up a little bit, tax rate goes up again, a big jump. Because not only are we losing that AV, let's go to our 2% buckets, and this is $1 million. And this is 2% is farmland and or apartments, they get a deduction now. Okay, so 0, 6, 12, these go down another 6% too.
Well, and, I mean, have you looked in the business property taxes? Because those are very different than residential property.
Awesome, page
Okay, you got that.
Page 7.
Because,
Nice segue.
yeah.
I'm glad you're doing my job, thank you. Page 7, this is what's gonna happen on personal business personal property. We're gonna keep our 80 for 25, we're gonna keep our 80 for 26, and it's going to go to 2 million in 27. I bet nobody pays personal property in Clayton after that.
Right. Well, the business property taxes
Right.
will be dropped to 0.
This is business personal property. Yeah, I mean, what else is there? There's no other personal property, really. Because you and I don't have it, unless, do you?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, the businesses in
Right.
town, their
Good.
property taxes are gonna essentially drop to 0.
Well, for personal property,
Right.
not for real. So, they're going to go up.
Okay.
Why? Because their building will still be assessed. They're under the 3% property. Guess what? What's our total tax rate here?
Right now it's 40.
No, that's yours. Total
Oh.
is including the school. I got my handy dandy sustainability from 24 right here. So,
Oh, total is like 1.7,
okay, yeah, $1.70.
1.79.
$1.70.
Yeah.
It's actually 1.7512 for 25.
Okay, yeah. 1.7.
Or what? Yeah. So,
Per 100 assessed value.
yes. So, when the 175 starts climbing by 5 or 6%, the tax rate, it'll climb by 5 to 6% per year because of all this loss, and you don't do anything, right? AV goes down 6 or 7, 8%. Tax rate goes up 6 or 7, 8%. Once that 175 hits $2, none of the 2% will have any more. They'll be at their circuit breaker. Okay?
Gotcha.
Now, what happens when it goes further from 2%? Well, when it gets to 3%, everybody's at the circuit breaker, so 3%'s done. So the businesses, the tax rate will creep from 175 to, let's say, 190, let's say to 210. Their assessed value, 3% property, didn't get any magical deduction, okay? So AV, let's say, even stays the same, the liquor store down here, tax rate jumps up, the bill will go up. Property tax bill, okay, for the businesses. So it's a shift to commercial away from residential. Okay, now, what happens when you hit 3% and you hit, like even maybe the county hits 1.2%, the state legislatures say, easy for me today, say, how about Jeff Thompson says, you're out of money. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Quote, you're out of money. That was his quote, you're out of money. And I mean, I understand that. I mean, that's the reality. So,
So is it smart to not try to spend as much? To keep your, you know how you're,
I'm totally with
They
you.
want you to spend what you get. But
No,
would it be
I
smarter-
wouldn't.
No, we need to save some,
I-
not
I-
blow it on silly things.
Don't know why she looked at me.
Yeah, Dawn, why are you doing
Looking around the
that?
table.
So now what we don't know, okay, in 27, your buckets of public safety and CEDAT go away. We don't know if, let's say they give you, so those in theory will self-destruct, Jenny.
Oh, Lord.
Now, maybe. State Board of Accounts hasn't figured out if, once they implement this 1.2%, the state legislatures is saying, those things don't exist anymore, okay? State Board of Accounts may say you have to put all your money in the general fund. And or some said, well, maybe could we transfer? I don't know, we'll have to wait for that. We'll have to wait for that version in about 2.5 years, or 1.5 years.
The lit and the CEDAT?
All gone.
Gone.
All gone.
Well, where's that money going?
Well, again, so that money isn't collected in that way. It's collected by the new property tax scenario that I've set up right in here, in 2A and
So
2B.
essentially, they're moving the goalpost, but they expect to give you a little bit more yardage towards the goalpost here and there.
That's why they put it at 1.2 for the counties. They said, we did all the research, nobody's at needs 1.2. Well, I disagree, but, and then they started going down from there. They limited towns, Plainfield's limited to 1.2. What,
They're allowed to apply for
their own.
Yeah, they can do it.
Right.
They have to
themselves
get their
because
own.
they're Greater than 3,500 people.
right, so,
But we're stuck begging.
Right.
We gotta go up for the table scraps from the
right, I
county.
mean, I
And,
feel like a kid sitting at the card table at Thanksgiving.
right.
Right. You kinda are.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yes, I am.
I think we've all been there at least once, so,
So like we fund our park with CEDA money.
great. You may or may not be able to do that in the future.
Exactly, so that kind of stuff will have to just go into the general fund and have to watch what you,
Maybe. Again, Jenny, the split down of your new money that you get in 2028, no guidance at all. Obviously, State Board of Accounts is waiting for them to tweak it. Now, how will it likely get tweaked? And there's some tweaking that needs to be done. What I'm afraid is AIM may come in and say, we need 1.5% for Bloomington, Indiana, because by the way, I've already done Bloomington, Indiana's calculation because of Monroe County. I'm their financial advisor, and they're gonna lose big time. So what AIM's gonna do is come in and say, we need that 1.2 of the town only above 3,500 to increase to 1.5. And so then everybody's gonna say, well, who are we taking it from? You gotta make sure you don't get taken away from you guys.
yeah.
Because the county, they'll say county needs to go 1%. Well, 92 counties, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
So we really gotta watch how this plays out next year. So Jenny, I keep saying, I'm gonna keep answering, yes, if you can be conservative, and if you're doing if you're doing some project, and now this is also where you gotta really, you guys have a sewer utility, but not a water utility, right?
Right.
Well, so when I go up to Pittsburgh, you're gonna hear the rates are going up. We're getting those in order. They got all 5 utilities, gas, water, electric, and I don't think they have stormwater. We're gonna install a stormwater charge, but they've got all, you gotta have those things support. You gotta have your sewer utility support the overhead, that it should support, right? And maybe pay a payment in lieu of tax to the general fund. So, I'll pause there.
The sewer rate's a user utility. You can't use that money for other things in town, right?
I'm not saying that.
Oh.
I'm saying there should be a proportional allocation of Jenny, is there? To the sewer utility of your
Yes, she gets
salary?
paid some of it,
Okay.
because she
Yeah,
bills for them, she
yes.
does.
And all
yes.
you,
And then all infrastructure.
No, they do not.
We do not get anything out of it.
okay, you could,
They
you-
used to.
Yeah.
and
The
then
work
we
that would
s-
pertain to the wastewater treatment plant that involves the infrastructure in town should come from wastewater treatment.
yes.
They used to get paid like half and half,
Mm-hmm.
and mine is not even quite half and half, and I think mine should be more sewer than general myself, because it seems like I do more
Because
sewer
you do
work
billing and you do,
Yeah.
yeah, so those are things that you want to get in line,
Yeah.
okay? Because this is all going to push you to look at
To
the
the
other,
limit.
make sure you're getting your other revenues that you should be getting.
So in the summer of 2027, at this meeting, we would be looking at, and this will all be lined out by then, and they'll have this, a whole new
Yeah.
thing that we're gonna be looking to figure out all.
Now I've got my toes
I like
crossed,
how
I can't
optimistic
move.
Dave always is. He's so
You're,
positive thinker
you're,
right there, guys.
you're exactly right. We'll have it all, they'll have it all ironed out. And again, keep in mind, my toes are crossed.
Professional, you think other people are professional, and they'll do their professional part, and that way everyone's being professional.
Here's the problem. Here's the challenge, okay? Department of Revenue has two counties, Hamilton and one other, that they geofence, and they've been practicing with Westfield, Carmel, and Fishers, getting the income, and they've been playing with that for about 4 years. They got only 90 more counties to go.
So
Okay,
it is possible to geofence off communities,
yes.
it's just not something readily done right now.
Correct. Because if we say, I've got a Clayton resident, clear down here in,
Right, you're out in the township.
yeah, in no man's land.
Yeah.
And so, but you have a Clayton, well, I don't live in Clayton, so you gotta figure out the enviros of each of
I have to tell
those.
people that all the time. No, you don't live in
Right.
Clayton.
Yeah, right. So if they do that, obviously they don't wanna do it for, small towns. And so the state legislature said, we're gonna enact this July of 27, forcing the Indiana Department of Revenue to catch up. So now you know why I said I am crossing my fingers.
So they're never doing this, they're never gonna geofence or
I don't think
we're
that,
always gonna be the kids at the cardboard table at Thanksgiving. Until we get bigger than 3,500.
yes. That's the way it appears today,
Okay.
okay? Unless all the 3,500s band together and go down and geofence the Capitol. And I didn't say take it over. I said geofence it. So personal property. I told you what's going there, and then the floor. So I gave you the personal property. Has anybody filed a personal property tax form before? A Form 103. Surely you have, Doug. Okay. So Doug has, so he's going to lead us through it.
Well,
That's
personal
it.
property, the Republican paper today said that they've made mistakes on what they've taxed everybody. You know that,
Is that in Hendricks County?
yeah.
I didn't hear that today.
It was in Republican today and said they're gonna rectify the ones that they've overcharged.
Huh? Okay.
So,
Well, that would be
property
Ann.
tax.
That would have been Nancy. So I don't. Huh? Okay. Well, on page 9, what I want you to see is line 53. So, line 53, you see that 30% floor? You've heard a lot of people talk about a 30% floor for personal property. This will go away in the 25 form for all new property. So what happens is, if you go to this table here on page 10, most property falls under the 5 to 8 year life, pool 2. So it will go down to a floor of 15, and I suspect in a couple more forms to go here, this will be down to 0. So in other words, personal property will depreciate to 0. Pretty
Is this an
soon.
in-ground or an above-ground pool? I'm just telling you, wow, this is too much.
So, when you hear someone say personal property is going away, first of all, it is if you're at 0 to 2 million. And then if you got the data center moving into the suburbs of Clayton, then first of all, they'd ask you for 40-year tax abatement on this at 100%. But if you didn't get to that place, then you can see how it's going to work. It's going to go away pretty quick. Okay? And so, that's how the Form 103, you should, and I wanted you to understand Form 103 and just take a look at it. Because that's the one that's going to come up. This other thing you may have seen, but this is one where we're trying to see, Jeff Thompson said that they wrote this in here where it says the county council may adopt an ordinance to impose a lit to fund the credit against the property tax liability. The way Representative Thompson said it was, well, that will only replace the county share, not Clayton's share.
Not the
we're trying to figure out if there's a way we can raise one of the other lits and give everybody, help everybody with the 300. But at this point in time, that's not working out at the county level yet. Now, I'm not saying that is even something the county council would do, but they may entertain it. Okay? And so we're trying to figure that out. So, back to here, back to this main front page is, if you look down at number 5, and we don't have a TIF district, right?
Correct.
So TIF districts will not have a windfall, and budget process will take a lot longer in 2029, Jenny, so get ready. Because,
I don't plan on being here then.
sure you do, just out of default, we'll need you. Because now you understand all this. And so, what will take place in future budgets here, remember that old tax rate we used to talk about? We're gonna now have to talk about it again. So it's coming back. We don't have to do that for 25 paid 26, and guess what? You'd be guessing anyways, right? Because the AV's dropping.
Yeah.
So, okay. So my final last thing I put down there is, look, it's really important for you guys to, your 5-year capital improvement plan, if you've got plans, you really need to kind of schedule that out, and so, and getting like the sewer, if the sewer needs updated or needs to carry its own self, and it can pay a small payment in lieu of taxes to the general fund. But I think you ought to get that in, you ought to get those in right-sized as you move forward. That's important. So, and then I'll let you mull over my resolution. I think we're going to put together a little draft of one for some of our other towns. And again, just a township's already, I said, yeah, do it. Because the county has to do it for the townships too. And, the county council, you can see, they're going to, they really don't want to be supreme commander over your tax rate, over your lit tax rate. But
They're
there's
not
no
enjoying
other
this
way.
any more than we are.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
They're not enjoying this
They're
anymore.
No,
earning their
no.
paycheck as well, because this is gonna cause a lot of nightmares for them. But
Right.
we
And,
need to, we just have to be organized and then
Right.
go and present, here's what we want, here's why we need it, what our
Here's what we've
plans
done
and goals,
to
yeah.
make it to that point.
right, and what I'm trying to tell you is that call, as the financial advisor for the county, I'm gonna tell the county, they need to make a call to the entities and say, we need your numbers come February and March of 2027 for them to make the deadline of July 1. So, they're gonna have to start early, so you need to be, we need
So
you
we have
to.
budget meetings
Before June of
before,
2020.
Oh, I think we would want to be talking about it. If it
Like
develops
26.
this way, in January, January, February, we're probably gonna wanna have a little talk.
okay.
So
Yeah.
we can come up with some projection on, here's the money we're losing out of our budget because of these cuts, and then that's what we're asking them to replace
Correct.
with the lit.
And I think that can be
That number-
explained
Yeah,
in the sustainability.
right, so we just have to put that together on, one page saying,
Yep,
In a
this is what we're
resolution,
losing.
Yes.
yeah, this is what we're losing out of our budget from this year, and we're asking the county council to replace that with the lit, in order for us to be sustainable moving forward, so we can pay for, the services that our community needs.
and
Our-
enjoys,
yeah.
yes.
And do we have to spell out any of those needs, or we just say, because this is the budget we've had, our budget has been close to 300,000 for, the last few years. So we would want it to stay at least that, and things aren't getting less expensive out there, so
Right.
it's not like we can say, oh, we'll get by on 250 instead of 300, when really what we need,
Right.
probably 350 or,
You'll need at least 5%, you know, maybe they ask 5% per year,
Okay.
you know, or something like that.
All right, so it's 6:52. Can we put together another date where we can work on more budget stuff? I know this one we didn't get to any of the numbers.
And do you want
our
me there?
projections and stuff? And I mean,
Or are you
Yeah.
gonna do it specifically your first draft or whatever? I mean, the only reason I'm asking is for a specific date, I've gotta check, obviously with my
Well, and
department, my
for-
staff.
for next year's budget,
Right,
things aren't topsy-turvy yet,
Right.
right? They're
Right.
gonna stay fairly close to what we have right now.
correct.
So that'll help.
AV
go
will
through
go
these.
down, tax rate will go up, but you'll still get 192 plus, they'll say 4% and I'll say plus 1%.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll keep those numbers in mind when we're going through, you know, our
Yes.
general numbers and as we manipulate them for next year and coming up with that, just like we've always done. But the biggest thing is at some point in the coming year, we have to figure out this resolution and then how to ask the county council
Right.
for that list.
Well, and I think once you get a preliminary 26, then I would update the sustainability using 26 budget, and we would go 27, 28, 29, and we'll show that.
Yeah,
If we go conservative over, like step down each year, showing that we're being conservative with our budget, are they gonna take that as, oh, they get?
Well, wait a minute, I didn't say you go down.
right.
Okay,
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
So-
not
Well,
do that.
He said,
Let's not do that.
Okay.
Let's ask for more than we need,
yeah.
and then
Okay.
if they back down, that's their issue.
Well-
I don't want I don't want us to ask for less, and then they go, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine, we'll just give you $20 and
right.
you're happy
Well, I
with
just
Yeah.
wanted
Let's
wanted
not
to
ask for
make sure
20.
that we weren't looking at our budget and then somehow curbing the budget each year to make, and then it would look like, oh, well, they don't need it.
No.
They don't need it.
We're not doing
No,
it.
you want to stay status quo on your budget. You don't want to go too high on the numbers because they'll take it from the cash balance. And you got to keep the cash balance reasonable. And so it's a balancing act that I think Jenny and I can work out
Okay,
once you get there.
perfect.
Okay, and stuff like that, because on the general fund, our projected ending balance for, let's see, 2025, it was 365 here. Your total budget in the general fund
Yeah.
was 365.
Yeah.
And your
365.
projected operating balance was 123, so we wouldn't want to go too much lower than that,
Okay.
so.
Do you see motor vehicle, do you know anything like about motor vehicle highway, whether that stuff is gonna be?
Yeah,
going down?
MVH, for the most part, we're not taking a hit. That should be relatively the same revenue, maybe up a little bit, maybe not. Depends on kind of that, but it didn't take a hit.
Okay.
Community crossings, have you guys ever gone for that?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, that's what I thought. You know, it'll be next year, and our match will be, it's 50-50 for you, isn't it?
No,
You know, no,
we only have to match a quarter.
pardon me?
It's 75-25.
Okay,
Because
so,
of the size of our town.
so I think that's.
If we match more, we get more.
Yeah, that's where we need the 5-year capital improvement plan, because your match may be tough to get coming up.
All right, so so July 10th is our next town council meeting. Do we want to meet at 6 for another budget
Yeah,
meeting July 10th
yeah.
at 6 again? Does that work for you, Don?
And you'll work out the draft numbers and get them to us.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We will run that. All right. Any other questions for Greg? All right. Thank you, Greg. I
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
We will.
Jenny, if you've got follow-up questions, give me a call.
It's
Thanks.
in an envelope so
All
that
right,
you.
I'm gonna adjourn.